Hello YouTube and newsletter subscribers. This is Terrell from Terrell3.com. Today is March 19th, 2015. This is the update report connected to volume number 12, Terrell's 2015 newsletter. Now, this is shaping up in an interesting way. And the parallel, I'm continuing to show you guys the parallel between what happened in 2014. See the transition in the 2013 to 2014 orbit cycle here at outside orbit position. And what that means is that's the time that the Earth made the 90-degree angle relative to the black star. The black star being in this line somewhere. When the Earth comes around and makes this 90-degree angle right here, we pass behind the Sun relative to the black star November the 15th. We pass outside orbit position over here, making that 90-degree angle around the last week in January. There's a disparity between the near side and back side alignments, which shortens this period. I can't quite understand why yet, but the what I'm going to show you is the symmetry that's in the chart. This O right here is whenever we made the 90-degree angle. That was in the week that began January the 5th. Then, like last week, I showed you the pattern. This is the jolt value, 536, the J, the jolt value. The lowest value for the year and the highest value for the year appear right next to each other in the seismic chart. The reason is because as the Earth is around in this area, we're moving away from the black star. As soon as we come around in orbit and start moving towards the black star, we get this jolt. It's from the magnetic portal connection from the black star that starts shortening. It's lengthening, 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 and then it shortens. I showed you that in previous reports. For those that don't get it, go back to the previous reports. Okay, let me get back over here. And for those that were paying attention last week, I showed you this 5 here that took place in the 5th week. Remember, this is last year. 5 in the 5th week. Go down to the bottom of the chart. Go over here to the 5th week, and look, you see the same 5 in the 5th week. Then, last week I showed you the 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. See this 1 right here? You're going to see another 1 in the seismic chart for the 6 magnitude earthquakes. So what did we get this week? Guess what? Surprise, surprise, we got another 1 here. Look right beside it and you see the 17 for the 5 magnitude earthquakes. Look what happened last year with this 20. This was the lowest number. Look at the values that follow for the next 2 months. 34, 31, 42, 31, 57, 30. You see this uptick, we are at the threshold right here. Week 8 is the threshold week. That's where we are right now in the chart, the threshold week. This 20 went down to 17. This is going to be the lowest value you see for the next 2 months. Week number 9 is coming. I could plug in the values that I expect here. I want you guys to do that. Okay. Last year, we saw a 3 for this. We should see 6 magnitude earthquakes increase. We see 3 and then 6. This is a jolt value, this high number right here that comes in the 10th week. We should see right around 6, up from just 1 now. Who can predict that we're going to have 6 of these earthquakes in 2 weeks? Who can do that? Unless you're looking at the historical precedent and you know that this has to do with the Earth moving towards the black star. You see, the magnetic portal connection that's extending between the black star and the Earth is now shortening because Earth is coming around in orbit in that position. You see what I mean? The Earth responds. The Earth tries to maintain equilibrium. But just like we saw these upticks, look at what happened when we passed between the 2 stars. We saw 17 of these 6 magnitude earthquakes in a 3-week period. 17 of them. When right now, the last 3 weeks, we've only seen 3. All right, this is what's about to happen. We're about to see the replaying of this record, of this recording from the historical precedent that's going to take place right down here in this chart as it fills out. I encourage you guys, tell your friends. You're trying to wake people up about what's happening with the black star. Tell your friends that this guy is making predictions in the seismic chart weekly, that's going bi-weekly, and I'm taking the time, slowing things down, taking the time, I'm writing this commentary, I'm pointing to the chart to help you to see the patterns. Once you see the patterns in the chart, you can begin making your own predictions about the kinds of earthquakes, large magnitude, small magnitude. See this number 180? That's going to be the lowest value in the chart, just like the 176 was last year. Then we see the jolt. Here's the jolt value right here, 343. It's a little bit lower, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to see another climbing. This 343 has appeared in the chart before. This was the highest value for the 2013 Earth orbit cycle. These numbers are reoccurring in the seismic chart, right? This 300 and 536 number is the highest value for the last 5 years, right? The Earth and the black star were in the right position. The black star is going to come in for a perihelion event. It's become, I've tracked it all the way across here. It's coming in for a perihelion event, then it's going to leave, right? Well, last year it was coming by, Earth coming around at the right time, near proximity enough to give us that, and it was moving slow enough at that time to give us this giant value in the chart. Now it's moving faster. It's, instead of moving 11 degrees per year, it's now moving 21 degrees. It's moving faster. So because it's moving away as the Earth is coming around, we have this lower value in the chart. This lower value, this for this year, 343. It's still a jolt value. See it when it's going down just like last year. It's going down just like last year. Right here, right? It got down to 205 before it began bouncing up again. This year, it's down to 2. It went down to 206, and now it's around 211. That number is going to jump, right? Look at what we had in the 10th week last year, 336. 336. Now we're in the low 200s. Watch for that value to repeat itself over here in the chart, in the seismic chart. The number of new volcanic eruption events for this week was 5. We've been between 5 and 10 new volcanic eruption events every week since Earth passed behind the sun relative to the black star. That's where you see this B right here. The number B. I probably should make another column here and show the number of new volcanic eruption weekly, that value in the chart, so you can see a correlation between the new volcanic eruption events that remain between 5 and 10, right, during the uptick periods. For 2011 and 2012, that number is between 0 and 4, occasionally jumping up into the higher value, but the average is going to be between 0 and 5, let's say, right? We have not seen a week below 5 now in a very, very long time. Earth's core is continuing to heat up even through the Earth change lull periods because of nearing black star proximity. Okay, so that number is 5 for this week, expected to remain between 5 and 10 all the way through the end of May. Okay, and then let's look at the earthquake 3D, what's going on here, and let's move it up to the entire last week. What I'm looking for is what's going on in between. Larger values with the quake swarm area, right? You're seeing these bigger circles now. You've been seeing convergence of the seismic. In other words, the rings that are created are overlapping one another. That's been happening for the last couple of years over on the Pacific, on the Asian side, the Australian side. That has not been the case over here in the United States until just recently. Now the tectonic pressures are increasing all around the Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire, but remember, we're still in a seismic lull. We're in the Earth change uptick period, but after we get that jolt, these values go down to just over 200 before they bounce again. So you're going to see this convergence here popping now over the next 2 months. You're going to see a closing in of the entire Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire. Expect increased activity down here where you see these quiet spots. You're already seeing that happening with the convergence all the way around from tip of South America all the way up to Alaska. You're seeing it, the same kind of pattern that you're seeing around here on the Pacific Ocean, on the Asian side, right? Watch for that to uptick. Even though we're in the uptick period, now we're going to see the sharp rise that you see in this chart right up here. You're going to, from last year, here we see it. See, the Earth change uptick period began with the O at outside orbit position, the jolt, and then we see a simmering down all the way back down to 204. So we're still in this simmering period that extends all the way through the 9th week, right? And then you see the sharp uptick. So even though we're in the uptick period, we're seeing the same thing. This lull in the period, this lull in the 5 magnitude earthquakes, same thing as last year. this lull in the 5 magnitude earthquakes going down to 20, then you're going to see the bounce. And we should not see another value below 30 for the next 2 months in this line right here. You see this 20 and 17? That's going to end. You're going to see 30s in this column now, right? Because history is definitely going to repeat itself. And then I want to show you, let's see, what's going on over here. Magnetic North Pole. There's a pattern that's going on here too. You're seeing, see, this is the North Pole right here, 0, 0, right? And you're seeing that now the instead of moving towards Siberia across this North Pole line, we're seeing a line that is paralleling. Just like last year. Look at what's happened last year, paralleling. And then in March, you saw the turn back this way, away from Siberia. Whenever it gets to the bottom, right here at the bottom of the chart, expect that you're going to be 2 weeks later than last year. 2 weeks later. See this May 4th value? Expect that 2 weeks later we're going to be in relatively the same space. You see what we have up here right now, what was happening in January, what was happening January 2014, January the 1st, is now happening up here. February 11th, 2014, this is February the 15th. See how it's trailing? Trailing by about 2 weeks where it was last year and on a wider path. The trailing for 2 weeks is the same 2 weeks that you see in the seismic chart. The same difference that you see. Look at the O here. See how it started in January the 5th? Now look at the O for this year. January the 18th through the 24th. Same thing with the migrating magnetic North Pole, because the reason that the magnetic North Pole is migrating in these circles is because Earth is going around the Sun and the proximity is changing between the black star and the Earth and the Sun. The black star is moving left in the orbit diagram. The black star is moving left in the orbit diagram, which means Earth has to move around in orbit 2 weeks later to get to outside orbit position. That's why the magnetic North Pole is migrating in the way and shape that it is migrating right now. So it's going to come down and then turn back around. In May, you're going to see it down at this bottom here, and then it's going to come back around so that when Earth passes behind the Sun relative to the black star, here we are again. It's November the 16th this time. It's going to be December next time, trailing about that 2 to 3 weeks. Watch for that pattern. The same way that I am, and then you guys can begin predicting, like I am, where this magnetic North Pole is going to be, because you know where the black star is. It's in the transitioning from the Libra to, from the Virgo to the Libra constellation. All right. So I'm feeling better this week, getting over that sickness, and I expect to be on Liberation Nation. Like lots and lots of commentary this week in the newsletters. Lots of mass animal deaths. That's what we get after we reach outside orbit position. And remember my Tarot Investigates radio show? No, I'm not doing this anymore. Final show 218 right there. Here are links. With each date, there's a different link to radio shows so that you guys can follow my commentary if you want to. Liberation Nation, I was not able to do last week, but I will do this week. Now I'm going to upload this video, this newsletter for newsletter subscribers right after I make this video, but I'm going to re-upload it after the radio show so that this link right here will show 319. Then you will get today's radio show in this newsletter, because I'm going to record it, my own recording. I only do that when I'm on the radio show, right? And so that will appear right here for you guys in this update. Subscribe to the research and help me in this investigation by going to tarot3.com and hit the subscription button. If you don't want to be a regular newsletter subscriber, just go to the donation button over there on the left. Send me a donation, help me to continue the research. I appreciate you guys. As a matter of fact, let me get my radio notes up here. And I want to give a thanks. I have a few seconds here. A thanks to Kimberly and David, Neil, Deborah. They signed up for newsletters to be newsletter subscribers over the last 2 weeks. And then James, JD, Laura, Raphael, Phil, David, Grant renewed. And James, with your Mind Spring, you need to send me an email. And I will see you guys on the next update report.